What is up, YouTube? Today I'm riding the 2023 Harley-Davidson Sportster S. This is one of the sport cruisers that Harley has. Yeah, I'm excited to try this bike. I saw online that it had 121 horsepower. Last time I rode a bunch of Harleys was back in 2015 or 2016, so this should be fun. So taking off from a stop is fairly easy. Barely have to give it any throttle. The clutch is really light, so it's a very light pull. And we're just chilling here in third gear. It's nice it has a gear indicator. You don't need a gear indicator, but it's nice when I'm jumping on all these different bikes. I can kind of see what gear I'm in. The throttle rolls on very smoothly, actually. It doesn't feel very on and off like some of the other sport or cruiser bikes that I've ridden. Feels like it rolls in very smoothly. It's easy to be smooth on this throttle here. And I would hope so, because this bike seems very fast already. I did a little pull and it's got some pull to it. So we're kind of going slow right here. We'll see how it does in the low speed riding. This bike has so much technology to it. I think there's a way you can connect Bluetooth, because there's a play button, there's a volume button on my right side here. There's different modes on here. So there's rain mode, I think road mode, and then sport mode. I'm in sport mode right now, obviously. And then over here you got heated grips. I think this is cruise control right here, so that's pretty cool. Wow, that's quick though. That's got so much power. But wow, the power is so strong. It revs up very quickly, and you barely have to turn the throttle to get a lot of that power. So it seems pretty peppy. The seating position isn't as bad as I expected. It's actually pretty good. I feel like I'm sitting pretty upright, but a little bit forward. My feet are right below me, right below my knees, so it feels pretty comfortable. It doesn't feel like a clamshell position. Right now I'm just in third gear. We're going 43. We're just chilling. This bike is only running 4,000 RPMs. It's loving it. Let's see, we'll go up to 4th, 5th, 6th. So it does have 6 gears. 6th gear feels like I'm lugging it around town here, going 40. Downshifts are smooth. I don't even have to rev match. I just let out the clutch and it feels like it just goes into gear with no interruptions. This bike does have ABS. Let me try out the brakes here. They're not too touchy, actually. They're pretty forgiving, which is nice. Even with ABS, still nice. So the brakes are pretty forgiving, front and back. You do have to give it a little bit of pressure, not touchy at all, so that's good. I like that. And yeah, this bike does have ABS and traction control. I mean, with 121 horsepower, I would hope it has some kind of traction control. So you see the tires there. Look like typical sport bike tires almost. It looks like the tires are kind of cone shaped in a way, which I think will allow for better turning, because when I'm on the road here I feel like it wants to lean one way or another, so I have to constantly adjust. At a stop though, it's very light. It feels light for a cruiser. It doesn't feel heavy at all compared to my Suzuki Boulevard and my other cruiser bikes that I've ridden. It feels fairly light. Very easy to hold upright. I'm 5'11". My knees are pretty bent here. Seems like a good seat height. It's fairly low. Probably fit most average size riders here. Alright, let's not stall it. So the clutch takes up pretty quick here. The shifting is the shifter is a little vague, so it doesn't clunk into gear, which isn't really too bad of a thing. It's just hard to know if I actually got the gear or not. But I've ridden bikes that are pretty vague with the shifting, so I'm used to it at this point. Overall though, shifting is very smooth. Like I said, it doesn't clunk into gear. Now sometimes the clunk is good, so it tells you what gear you're in. It's a little windy today. I feel like I'm getting pushed around a little bit, but not too bad so far. Low speeds here, pretty easy to balance. Like I said though, it does want to go one way or another. It doesn't really want to go, it doesn't want to stay in a straight line here, it seems like, because of the tires on here. It kind of wants to lean. Sounds pretty good for a stock bike. It is pretty quiet, but it's got a nice little tone to it. First gear, leaning it around the corner here. Feels good. Going around corners, feels stable. I feel confident leaning this bike around a corner. This is a very low sitting bike. I think a lot of the weight is pretty low. I think the center of gravity is pretty low, so that helps with the handling, and going around corners it doesn't feel like you're tipping over a big bike. I'm just rolling around in third gear, honestly. I think third gear has a nice power band at this speed here, 4,000 RPMs. Good amount of engine braking there. I do like that the brakes are not very touchy. I think they're just right on here. Now when you're at a stop, your legs might be resting on this heat shield on the exhaust. As you can see, my leg is kind of butting up against here. On the left side there's not much to interfere with your legs, and I can feel a little bit of heat coming out on my ankles. My ankles are exposed. I think we're going right here. So you can connect a Bluetooth device to use navigation. That's awesome. Play your music, vitals about the bike. Let's go around this corner, not too much throttle. Yeah, it gets up to speed so quickly. Oh yeah, it's just got so much power. Just ready to go at any time. Switch pages here, go back to home. That's pretty cool. I do like the technology they've added to this bike. I think having Bluetooth on here to do navigation would be pretty cool. So you don't have to mount your phone on the handlebars. Now this bike doesn't feel like it wants to rip your head off. On some of the sport bikes I ride, it feels like it just wants to go. Whereas on this bike, it's very smooth on and off the throttle. So throttle response is nice and easy. And you don't really feel the power until you give it some more throttle there. And then it really opens up. I think the horn is all the way down here, so right by your thumb there, and then pushing the signals here is a little bit difficult. You have to kind of reach your thumb out. Well, I do at least. The mirrors are good. They're mounted on the bar end, so you can see around you. That's nice. So like I said earlier, it is pretty easy to take off from a stop. The clutch does bite, pretty good. Let's shift up here. Let's say we're riding around in 5th gear in the city. There's barely any vibrations in the handlebars. I like that. Very smooth bike. In 5th gear, going 45, you still have some power. Like I can roll on the throttle and it'll kick me back a bit. It does feel like you're lugging it a bit in 5th gear, going this speed though. But if you need the power, it's there. Yeah, the power is just there in every gear. It's kind of ridiculous how much power this thing has. I think this bike starts around 17,000. Now, Harley is becoming an exclusive brand. They got rid of their beginner bikes, and so they're trying to up their brand. They're trying to appeal to the higher end buyers, and I get that. Although some of the newer riders might be turned off from how expensive the newer bikes are. I mean, there's a lot of technology in this bike. It has so much power. I haven't ridden any of the Indians yet, the newer Indian bikes, so I'd have to ride those to compare, but I like this so far. This would be fun to take on a road trip, on a fast-spirited ride, carving canyons. I think it would handle really well in the canyons. It feels really easy to lean over. It wants to lean over, and just the power it has. This would be fun to rip around town on the freeway and whatnot, and it's fairly comfortable even for city driving. I think this would handle a passenger pretty well. It's still got enough weight that it's stable, but it does feel like definitely a lighter cruiser. So yeah, so far I really like it. I'd say come out and ride one of these and see how it is.